Please tell me you did not watch the podcast this last week. Hey guys, welcome back to the Dr. Cliff AuD vlog. This is vlog number 136, and today I want to talk to you guys about this live video podcast that we are doing every Wednesday. Now, before I get into it, if you could do me a huge favor, click the like button. It really helps out the channel. And if you are not yet subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button with notification bell so you get a notification every single time we publish a new video or go live. Now, if you guys were watching the podcast this last week, now this podcast is live, so anything that goes wrong like literally while you're on the air. It's 45 minutes straight. It starts at 4 o'clock Arizona time every single Wednesday. We've done 2 episodes now. If you saw the first week, the first episode went actually pretty good. There was a couple of glitches when it came down to, you could hear the producers talking to us and giving us countdowns for, like when we were actually going live. You could hear kind of like our time points that they were giving to us through our earpieces and all of that. And you got to see all that, so it gave you a little bit of kind of like behind the scenes footage inside of that first podcast. But this last week, it was a really good podcast, meaning that the content that we had put together for it about over-the-counter hearing aids, I think that was fantastic. And Dr. Rachel Cook, she's a natural when it comes to this, if you ask me. But there was a lot of glitches this last week, and if you watched it, you know what the glitches were. First and foremost, if you were watching, you noticed that the colors were off. We were scrambling to go live at 4 o'clock. Dr. Cook had gotten over there by around maybe 3:10 or so, and when she showed up, the production crew had not really set up anything yet at that point. I got over there a little bit later, I would say probably about 20 minutes till 4, and I always walk in, I'm always in a good mood usually. I walk in and they're kind of doing their thing, they're getting all set up, and I see Dr. Cook kind of stressed out a little bit. I mean, she was getting herself ready, and when we went in, you could tell that things were not going to be ready, and if they were, it was going to be barely on time. And I think that we actually started to go live a minute or 2 later than what we should have. And so Ashley and then my resident audiologist, Kelsey, who you saw in that episode, they were turning on the lights, the lighting for the show. And I'm like, man, things are not set up and running smooth. On top of that, they did not have the microphone packs, the wireless microphone packs that we typically use, and then we put our little earpieces, if you can see our earpieces. I think my dad said that my earpiece was kind of falling out of my ear. It wasn't falling out, but you could see the little coil that kind of goes and snakes back down through my shirt. So I got to tighten that up, I guess, a little bit this next week to make my dad happy. But we had to set up our own microphones and all of that, and it was just kind of tricky. And you could feel that there was tension because no one knew if we were actually going to go live. And on top of that, because they didn't have the wireless microphone packs on them for us to hear the producers through our ears, they had to hardwire us in, but they thought that they only had one hardwire. So fortunately, they found a second one because we were going to be interviewing Dr. Amit Gasalia from out in California to be our Hearing Up Provider Spotlight. And man, the thing is that we actually got going on the show, and I know I'm all over the place here and I apologize for that, but there's just so many things that kind of just did not go the way that we wanted them to go for having this professional production. I mean, it did not come across as being uber professional this last go around, and I apologize for that. We'll get it fixed, trust me on that. But we could hear the producers talking into our ears. So we could hear, our countdowns. We couldn't hear any of the music because there's always this little music that you hear when the show's about to start and all of that. We couldn't hear any of that. And then when we had Dr. Gasalia come on, apparently everybody else could hear him, but me and my co-host, Dr. Rachel Cook, could not hear him. And so that was an absolute disaster. And here we are. I mean, we're not used to doing live television. Even right now when I'm talking to you, this is not live. I'm pre-recording this and I'm publishing it on Sunday morning. But to try to figure out like, well, what do we say? Because like we literally have show notes that we go through. We prepare for every show. We spend time figuring out what things we're going to be talking about. So we kind of have some cohesion in there. And so when something doesn't go right, we have to like regroup and figure out what the heck we're going to do. And so when we could not hear Dr. Gasalia, we're like, okay, well, we got to fill in that time. We typically have about 6 minutes for this Hearing Up Provider Spotlight. And we couldn't hear him. So we ended up cutting away from him. We're like, okay, well, let's see if we can get him back on. So we talked for a little bit, and then, okay, we try to get him back on. He comes on again and still cannot hear him. And everyone else could hear him. If you were watching, you could hear him, but we could not hear him. And so it basically blew up that entire segment. I feel horrible because, you know, I ask favors from different professionals inside of our industry. I mean, they have families, they have work, they have all of this, and I'm asking them to take time out of their day to come onto our show to share their experience with treating hearing loss and their experience of being an audiologist. And it's just, I want to be honoring their time because they don't have to do that. They don't have to do that on our show and come onto our show and take, you know, 30 minutes to 45 minutes out of their day for preparation for being on the show and all of that. And so I just feel horrible. So Dr. Gasalia, if you're watching, I'm sorry, buddy, but we'll get you back on the show. So after that kind of train wreck happened, you know, we actually ended up going through the show pretty well, but you may have noticed that Dr. Cook wasn't really looking at the right camera all the time. And the reason is because the first week, so okay, let's go back a little bit more here. When we did our pilot episode, which was not recorded, so you guys will never see that. I'll never see it. It wasn't recorded. But our pilot episode, we had 3 cameras on the set. You have essentially the main camera that's like your center camera that nobody ever looks at, okay? Then you have the camera that's directly in front of me, and then you have the camera that's directly in front of Dr. Cook. And so anytime that we look at the camera, we're supposed to look at our camera, all right? Just like I'm looking at you right now. But the first episode that we actually aired, so our first live episode, they're like, well, one of their cameras was on a different set, so they only actually had 2 cameras. So they had to do a 2-camera setup day 1. And so this 2-camera setup, I was looking at the one like in front of me, and she was looking at the one in front of her, and there was no center one. Well, when we started the second episode, there was back to 3 cameras. And nobody told Dr. Cook that there was 3 cameras. And, you know, she's busy like worrying about the things that she's going to be talking about and what order, you know, worrying about mentioning the sponsors, like all of that stuff. And so she just did not pick up that there was 3 cameras back on the set. So she was always looking over at different cameras that she was not supposed to be looking at. And it's really not her fault. So that was an issue. And then, you know, just the way that kind of everything ran, it just felt like there was tension there, because when you start off something and you're kind of like, okay, nervous that you're even gonna get it up and going and have it be working, and then you have a glitch in the middle of it, it just adds to this layer of like, what else is gonna happen and go wrong here? So I really feel we actually had to have a talk after it with the team and production crew and all that and be like, listen, like, I don't know what happened this week, and maybe some of the equipment malfunctioned or whatever that was working fine previously. It is what it is. You can't control that. But what you can control is actually getting there, setting things up, testing things out with enough advanced notice to make sure that the show will go off well. We should not be scrambling around for literally right up until 4 o'clock. We should be with maybe 10, 15 minutes before we go live. Everyone should be sitting around like bored, twiddling their thumbs because we've done all of our sound checks. We've got all the potential questions answered that we had, or we're being made aware of what camera is ours to look at, how many cameras we have, you know, making sure that the color temperature is set right on all the cameras, the color temperature is set right on all the lighting. And none of that happened in the second week. And, you know, I knew that there was going to be a learning curve that goes along with this. First and foremost, I am like super proud of Dr. Cook. I'm super proud of Kelsey for actually handling the stress of that situation very, very well. That was the first thing I thought about when things started going wrong, is that we were keeping our composure really well. And if there's anything that I took from military experience, is that you have to keep your bearing. You have to keep your composure under times of stress. So for me, the way I look at it is that if I have no control over the situation, I don't get stressed about it. If I have control over the situation, that is when I get stressed about it. But I just think that the team really kind of rallied together on our end to make sure that the show was actually palatable to some degree. But the other thing that you may have noticed is that the audio was bad. There was probably 5, 6, maybe even 7 times inside the show where the audio would stop, and then our producer would have to like reset the audio feed, and then there'd be a gap, and then it would realign. And you know, you guys were pointing it out when you were watching the episode. I appreciate that assistance, but I'm hoping that that doesn't happen again. And to be honest, some of the equipment that was used for this particular episode was different than the equipment that we originally used for the pilot and for the first episode. So the way I see it is that if we're gonna start using new equipment, we're gonna have to go in and actually retest that new equipment. Otherwise, we have to go back to the equipment that we started using on the show. But it's not a big deal. Like, the information was good. Hopefully you guys got some value. I noticed that there are some comments on there that some people clearly did not get value, and I apologize for that. It is what it is. We're gonna be talking, we're gonna be doing our best that we can to give you guys good information. If you don't like the information, I'm sorry, but we're doing our best, right? You know, I've been creating content for a long time, and never do I ever have a piece of content that is 100% liked by everybody. I mean, different people like different things that we say, and other people don't like the things that we say. So I guess regardless, I appreciate the feedback, both positive, negative, and neutral. And I'm really excited that we were able to find someone to give away the Dr. Cliff mug to. So hopefully we'll get that out. We should get that out Monday of this week. So tomorrow we should get that out in the mail. Let us know, like, if you want us to do certain things. I think it'd be fun to do more giveaways and have it be a little bit more structured. But I really think that a lot of fun things could come out of the show. And I also do want to give a shout out to Kelsey, my resident audiologist. So during the first week, we were having the Q&A, and it was just being fed to us on the screen, and then we had to read it off. And I'm like, you know, we should get Kelsey in the mix. I think it'd be more interesting to have the question read to us. And I originally was thinking of just getting her on camera kind of over in a separate room where the producers were, but she was actually in the same room as us, and she just kind of walked up to the table, sat down, and had her laptop that she was monitoring all of your guys' comments. So we literally have someone monitoring and getting feedback from you guys during the show. So definitely make sure you're leaving your comments on Facebook and YouTube, because we're going to continue to go live on both of those platforms. But it was really cool to have her on camera. Seems like she's a natural for all of this, to be honest with you. So I think we're going to have to bring her on the show more often. And the other thing that I should mention is, what was the other thing that I should mention? The other thing that I should mention is that Dr. Cook and Kelsey are both going to be creating videos, informational videos on the Dr. Cliff channel. So if you guys are more interested in hearing what they've got going on, make sure that you are subscribed to the channel and look for the videos that pop up that have them on their own thumbnails. And that reminds me, I didn't teach them how to do thumbnails, so that could be interesting. Nevertheless, we'll figure that part out. That's kind of an oversight on my behalf, but a lot of stuff going on, so what can I say? I'm just forgetting stuff and dropping the ball. But nonetheless, if you guys did watch the first episode and the second episode, I greatly appreciate it, because it is quite the expensive endeavor. It is the time-consuming endeavor, but we do it because we want to put more information out there that benefits you guys. So thank you for supporting us in this. If you give us support, we're going to try to do everything that we possibly can to give you guys more value and information and education about hearing loss and treatment options. But that is all that I want to talk about today. Sorry it was all over the place. I'm still super excited about the live video podcast. You can find it, like I said, on Facebook, YouTube, and wherever you listen to podcasts, because we syndicate it throughout pretty much all of the different podcast platforms. But that is it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed the vlog, and as always, I'll see you next week.